Hi, I'm Keely from Retirement Dreams to Reality, and today's video is another finance video where we're going to do a bit of a Q&A because we had such an overwhelming response to our previous finance video that we had lots and lots of really positive comments, but we also had some really good questions and some really good solutions, and we also had some suggestions. So as a lot of people generally don't tend to read the comments in YouTube, we thought some of those questions and answers and solutions and comments will be really useful for our viewers, and it's made us think quite a lot. And I forgot to say that today I am in Bestwood Country Park, which is a country park near us, and once again we have a theme, don't we? It's a disused colliery. It was the site of a pit, as you'll see later when the winding house is behind me. So our first question, a really interesting question that came from John Peace W2K, and he said, why are you opting for your reduced pension early? Your reduced pension is inflation proofed and guaranteed. And a few people asked this question in sort of slightly different ways. A few people said, I wouldn't take my DP pension early. You're losing because it's inflation proofed and CPI linked. So my answer to that was that, first of all, there is no easy solution to this one. Wherever we take our finances from is going to be a bit of a risk in terms of have we made the right decision. But in terms of it being inflation proof and index linked, which obviously in other investments might not necessarily be, the reduced pension is still inflation linked, inflation proofed and CPI linked. So what we take will still rise with inflation, and what we take will still rise with the CPI. So in that way, we're still getting that guarantee. Once our state pension kicks in, we're more than halfway to what we need anyway for our dream retirement. So taking it early gives chance for our own investments, our Sipp and our ISAs, to grow, and it means that we don't have to take more from them in the early days. So it's lessening, it's reducing the sequence of returns risk, which is always a big one. If you start eating into your initial capital early on, then you're reducing the chance of it lasting you how you want it to last. So that's the reason that we have opted. We know it's a risk. There's something to do with that if we live past the age of 82 or something, then we should have done it the other way round. You know, there's somebody's done figures for us actually in our comments, which was really good. But for us, it's worth the hit to get to feel quite comfortable and secure in our early days of retirement. So thanks for that question. It was a really good one, and we had it from quite a few people, so thank you. Another really useful question that we got asked by somebody called Hewan was, you don't mention inflation. Are you accounting for this? And he is right, we didn't talk about inflation. And the answer to are you accounting for this is yes and no. So yes, as in both the state pension and our defined benefits pension, as previously mentioned, will rise with inflation. They're CPI linked, they're triple lock, whatever, but basically every year both of those pensions will rise with inflation. And as in the end they take up the majority, they make up the majority of our income, then yes, we're definitely accounting for inflation with those. And also there is a school of thought that says your 4% rises with inflation. So although you take 4%, you do take into account inflation. So we haven't particularly included figures, like we haven't said that our 45 will increase at the rate of inflation, but we have taken into account that our income will increase with inflation, so therefore we will adapt to that. There's no way at the age of 70 we're still going to be taking 45,000 if at that point in real terms 45,000 is only worth 25,000. So yes, we haven't done exact figures, but we are looking at inflation and working that in a rough type of way. And another really useful question from a cup of sweet tea was, it might be worth waiting till April to draw your pensions. And actually, that's a really valid point. There was recently a YouTube video from a financial advisor that talked about the best time of year to take your pension. Now, I found a lovely seat. Now, definitely, because April could be a good time to do it for many reasons, particularly because of tax reasons. So obviously the new financial year, if I start taking my pension in April and that's my only source of income, then I won't be paying any tax on it because I haven't got my wages to think about. And also in terms of I hadn't really thought about this, and they made a really valid point about a pension calculator changes depending on what time of year you take it. So this person's personal experience was that their pension went up if they took it in April rather than in another month. So in terms of my defined benefits pension, now every new year is sort of accrued from December. So the year, if I'm taking the reductions, the annual reductions go from December to December. So if I did wait to take my defined benefits pension till April, then I would have 4 months less reduction. And I assume that's pro rata. I haven't looked into it in great detail, but they're not going to deduct you. I don't think they're going to deduct you the full sort of 5% for that year if you're only taking it for 2/3 of that year. So that's a really, really useful thing as well, that, as I say, I had just recently watched a video, but I hadn't given it that much thought. So thank you, A Cup of Sweet Tea, for that question too. That's made us think, and made us think about when we might draw our DB pensions in terms of time of year. And the final question that I'm going to talk about on my own was a really, really good question, and it's one that we have talked about a lot, was from somebody called Kawasaki Key 100. So thank you for that. And the question was, why don't you downsize now and invest the 100k? And the answer to that is an emotional one, not a financial one. So the answer to that makes emotional sense, but possibly not financial sense. And that is, we currently live in a little town in North Notts, and I was born here. It's ex-mining, it has a few of its own problems, but it also has community, and it's everything I've always known. And the actual area of the town that we live in, we absolutely love our little close, we love our little estate, we love our neighbours, and we really, really like our home. The only reason we are downsizing is because we are relocating at the same time. So we are moving to a smaller home in a different town. And the reason that's going to work for us is it will be easier and more bearable to be in a smaller home in a different place, because we will be by the sea, near the sea. We will be retired, so we will be travelling a lot. So we won't be months and months at a time in our small place, not for quite a few years anyway. And we will, so being away from family, being 2 hours away from family won't be so bad, because I won't actually be 2 hours away from family. I'll be a flight away from family, because we're planning to be abroad so much of the time. And we can't do any of that until Bruce retires. So we can't relocate until Bruce retires, because he's not going to change his teaching job for the last sort of 3 years of his career. So yes, it was a really good question. Yes, it absolutely would make financial sense to downsize now and to put that 100k into our pension SIPs, our SIPs, our stocks and shares ISAs, all the places where it will grow. But we are too happy currently in our home to make that happen, to let that happen. So basically, the really short answer to that brilliant question was, it's a package deal. Our downsizing comes as a package deal with our relocating. And if we can't relocate, we don't want to downsize, even though it really would make financial sense now. But thanks ever so much for the question. It really, really was a useful one. Please remember, if you're enjoying this video, or even if you're not, please help by liking and subscribing. Like and subscribe. So another really interesting question that was alluded to or asked sort of by more than one, but it was Deputy DD4364 that said, isn't the 4% rule too simplistic, given that we should have decent maths, we probably have decent maths ability. So isn't the 4% rule too simplistic for us?
I think this is more your kind of thing, isn't it? You use it as a guide rather than using it as a rule.
Well, and it's only one of the strategies that we're using. So the main strategy we're really going to use is the bucket strategy, isn't it? Which is sort of your engineering for us.
Yeah, so we watched a guy called Joe Kuhn, and he basically breaks it down into 3 buckets. And we kind of discussed it, and we were going to look at doing maybe 2 buckets.
Yeah.
So one of the buckets being a cash bucket, and one of the other buckets being purely stocks and shares, so 100% stocks and shares. He kind of does a bond, stocks and shares one in the middle, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And depending on how the market does, will determine which bucket we pull from.
Yeah.
So the thing is, at the minute, it's like everything, it's not set in stone. We're still looking into stuff that might change, but that doesn't massively impact on how our retirement, kind of what we're doing to working towards retirement, does it?
No, and a lot of people use the 4% rule to work out how much money they're going to need.
Yeah.
We did a previous video about that, so
Yeah.
have a little look at that. It's about financial myths.
Yeah.
We've never ever used the 4% rule for how much we need, because if that was the case, we'd need 1 million. We haven't got anything near 1 million.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of never withdrawing a lot more.
Yeah, you need some
4%
sort of, you
rule.
do need some sort of guide, don't you? Otherwise.
Yeah, I think Deputy DD says they're using the guardrail strategy, which is also another really good strategy.
Think income like going bowling, okay? You take the ball, roll it down the lane, you hit as many pins as possible. You're trying to create income. That's what you're doing. Now, some of you are going to hit gutter balls, okay? That's like, what if the market crashes and you take income at the worst possible time? That's like a gutter ball, okay? The cheat code is bowling with the bumpers up. I wouldn't let you hit a gutter ball. This bowling analogy, in retirement, you want to have these guardrails. What the guardrails approach is saying, hey, what if you have more asset classes? What if you have a little bit of real estate, passively owned? What if you have some small companies? What if you have international companies? What if you have so many different asset classes? If something is down, you don't really have to worry.
Yeah, so like I say, it's like everything. We change our minds all the time, but you kind of need something in place, don't you, to work towards, and then you can adapt as we get closer to that, both of us being fully retired.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why we use the 4% rule, but we don't technically use it. It's just a bit of a guide, something to look at, and maybe kind of give us some idea of what we might need.
It's just
and
making us
not go
mindful
over
of
too much.
our drawdown.
Yeah, definitely. So that's that one.
So thank you. That was a really good question.
Yeah, another great question. So the next question was by Mr. K Law UK.
Yeah.
And is it worth considering moving some money from ISA to SIP if you're still working. Now, this is a brilliant one.
We really didn't think about that.
No, we didn't consider that at all, did we?
Now, it's not going to work for Bruce because Bruce is already putting so much into his pension at the moment that he'll have that much in it and he can't touch it for 6-7 years after he retires. So Bruce will have enough in his pension because he can't touch it for such a long time. But for me, I could draw from my pension now. So actually, in the next few months, we're definitely going to transfer some money from my ISA to my Sipp.
Yeah.
And then from April, because I've still got one student just till June, but that means I'm still working, we're going to transfer a bit more, not a large amount, but a little bit more from my ISA to my Sipp. And then someone also said, so I had some brilliant comments, that even if you're not working, you can contribute into your pension. And you looked into that, didn't you?
Yeah, and we didn't. Well, we never even realised you could do that, did we? But I thought this is why pensions are so complicated.
So complicated.
And so many different rules and so many different things. I now realise that you can contribute up to, was it nearly £3,000?
£2,880,
yeah.
I think.
So.
And you get, with the tax relief, that makes it 3.5.
Yeah, I don't know if that includes the tax relief or not.
No, I remember you saying it's
that
an
on
extra
top.
800,
Yeah, so that's amazing. I mean, where are you going to get that money from? I don't know, but again, it's something that's worth considering, that you can still top up your pension if you need to. So
there's definitely guides and laws about you can't take it out of the pension and put it back in the pension to get more tax relief.
Yeah, you can't keep getting double tax.
But I've got money in an ISA, so I can definitely shift some money from the ISA over to the pension and get that tax relief.
So again, great. That was amazing.
Really
Made,
good question.
Again, this is why we do these videos, isn't it? Because straight away, just through getting those comments, thank you, we've already started to make changes.
Yeah, and
so
if we're getting help and information from other people, if they're just getting a little bit from us, that's really useful.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, that's a great one.
I loved the question from Gertrude Schatzberger from Austria, actually. And she said, how can a male teacher in the UK retire at 51? It's like, it's 65 in Austria.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's 67 in the UK officially. Yeah. In fact, Bruce is virtually going to be 68 by like 2 days or something.
Yeah.
So how is he able to retire in the UK at 51?
And it's basically because of what we're doing. It's the fact that Keely's a few years older than me. It's also the fact that where we're pulling the money from and how we're going to do it is the reason as to why we can do it.
Is he even classed as officially retired if he's not drawing a pension?
Yeah.
Because he will not be working, but he won't be drawing a pension for, what, 7 years after you retire?
Yeah, so we're taking money out of ISAs. That's the big reason, the fact that we've got money in ISAs, we haven't got a mortgage,
and the bucket,
and we're
house.
downsizing.
Yeah.
All these factors are the reason as to why I can finish at 51. I know I'm super privileged and I'm super lucky because my original plan was 55, but that is pretty much the reason why. So no, we haven't got any special laws in the UK or circumstances.
He's not officially drawing a retirement pension.
But another great question.
But we're still classing him
and
as
I bet
retired.
a lot of people are thinking that while they're watching these videos, thinking, how is he able to
retire
retire
at 51? Is he breaking the law?
Yeah,
no, he's not.
No. But that's another great one. Cool. So is this the last one?
We've got a bonus one. But
I've got a bonus one.
This one's really... I know a lot more about this one than you do.
Yeah, I'm not overly... Yeah, I've heard of the word geoarbitrage.
So at AG... 504GL, thank you for this question. With geoarbitrage, you could retire much earlier. And yes, he's absolutely right. Because we've earned our money in a relatively rich, developed country. If we went to spend our money in a less developed, cheaper country, we could probably retire now.
Yeah,
in fact,
we even looked at that, didn't we?
Yeah. If we went to live in Thailand, there's videos of people who've done that. They've actually
we looked
gone
at
to live in
YouTube videos recently, didn't we? And there was
Yeah.
a couple that were basically looking at comparing prices and what you can get, like an Airbnb over there, how much food costs. They were
Everything.
pretty much saying that it was cheaper to eat out than it was to buy and cook at home, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was somebody who was living in, I think he was Colombia. He was living in a city centre apartment and paying £500 a month, and he'd come from London where he'd been paying £2,500 a month.
Yeah, so
he was a remote worker, but we know 100% the money we have now we would be able to live very, very well in a country such as,
Portugal.
well, the real cheap countries, Thailand,
Oh, sorry, I thought
Malaysia.
Yeah.
So Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia,
Yeah.
Mexico, Colombia. So all of these quite well-known, quite popular geo-arbitrage countries, we could live there quite well now. However, that's not for us.
No, and the thing is, you've looked at it before, haven't you?
It is for me. I've got to be honest. I would be able to do it.
I remember you watching a video and going, "Oh, look, this looks amazing." Then when you started looking at, you go down the rabbit hole again, and you start reading articles, and you start looking at the health system. And we used to, the people that To Go Rome, they were doing a lot of it, weren't they? And then a couple of them got really poorly, and then because they were in those countries, they really struggled to deal with health. I mean,
some of the countries have a better health system.
Yeah, but it's just the infrastructure. I think what's in place.
For us, the biggest, if we're being honest, the biggest issue is
it's
the
us, yeah.
totally different culture,
yeah,
and the language.
Yeah, definitely.
Because somebody mentioned, which we might go on holiday. Somebody mentioned, was it Malaysia?
Yeah.
They most
People
loads of
there
English
were
is spoken
speaking-
in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So I thought, if we're gonna give these a try, just to see
Yeah.
if we can stretch our money out, then maybe we'll give Malaysia.
I think it's again, it's our fear of the unknown, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the biggest reason, and also the fact that if I've only got to do another 3.5 years, for me that's not a super long time, and if I do another 3.5, 4 years, and then we can do exactly what we want to anyway, it's worth that kind of sacrifice, isn't it?
Yeah. So
definitely.
we're more European and American
Yeah.
than we are.
Yeah, which is that's us.
South
The bonus
America
one,
or
bonus
Asia.
question.
The bonus question. This was a really
Very interesting one.
really interesting question, and it came from another video, but it came at the same time.
Yeah.
So he'd obviously been watching. He'd watched the big video, and then he watched the Save a Spender video.
Yeah.
And he gave us a really detailed
Kind of breakdown.
sort of comments and opinion on his video, and the crux of what he asked us was, should Keely continue to work for a couple of years so that Bruce can retire a little bit earlier and we retire together? So would that make more sense? Would that make more sense for the relationship? Would that make more sense in terms of our travel plans and everything if I just did 2-3 more years? If I did another 2 years, then Bruce would be able to drop a year, something like that. And I first read the comment, and he'd also alluded to my spending, which was interesting. And I first read the comment and thought Bruce had written it.
I think it caused a bit of controversy, didn't it? Because it was definitely an interesting one.
I'm really thankful for the comment.
Yeah.
However, that's never going to happen. I am already going past my dream retirement age of 55. I'm 55 now as I'm sitting here, and I'm still working
A little bit.
tiny bit, 2.5 days a week, whatever, but I've still got that little tie. From the minute my student finishes next June, there's no ties whatsoever. I will be totally free. And I don't intend to extend that by even a month.
I can understand where they're coming from. I mean, I think
it's the age gap.
It's the age gap, yeah. But I don't know if people realise that, like, say you are quite a bit older than
I'm
me.
8.5 years older
Yeah,
than Bruce.
but also
I
the
am
fact
not
that-
retiring at the same age
But
as Bruce.
the fact, and the way I look at it from my perspective is that my dream all along was to retire at 55. Even from a young age, I was like, I'm going to retire at 55. And to be able to retire at 51 seems like an absolute pipe dream. And when I tell people at work and I tell other people, they go, yeah, and they kind of roll their eyes a little bit. And when we first spoke to our financial advisor, and he was like, what's your plan? And we said, well, I want to retire at 55. And he just shut
so
us
that's
down,
not gonna
didn't he?
happen, yeah.
So for me to go at 51, I see that as a massive bonus. And I wouldn't want Keely to do any more time just so that I could retire even earlier, because I think 51's ridiculously early anyway. So I think it was a great question to ask and a very valid point, but I think we both understand that we're very lucky to be where we are, and we kind of appreciate.
And also, I earn a third of what Bruce earns. So me working 3 more years would only
Not
buy
have a
Bruce
massive impact.
less than a year anyway.
Yeah, and also the fact that and the money I've lost in those 3.5 years that I'm not working is again a lot of money that's not getting into my pension, is not growing, and everything
Yeah,
else. So the
yeah.
3.5 years in the stock market is not a long time, but it will make a big difference to our
Yeah.
finances, won't it?
It just makes sense
Yeah.
for Bruce to retire over the age of 50.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't so much older than him, then I wouldn't be so desperate for us to kick off now, really. So, yeah, that was a really valid point. Thanks for writing that, Bruce. No, only joking. I am going to make sure I curb my spending in retirement. Thank you. And Bruce will work till a minimum of 50. And I'm definitely finishing ASAP.
Yeah.
But it was a brilliant comment.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you for all the comments. That was it was when we made the video, we didn't go in with the intention of we make these videos to try and help other people, but we never thought we would come out with people trying to help us as well, which
Yeah,
has been
it's
brilliant.
And we're a little bit overwhelmed by it, actually.
And I think it reaffirms your plans as well, because you see some other videos, and when they have these kind of grandiose plans, then it foolproofs your, not future-proof,
Yeah.
but it foolproofs your plan, doesn't it? And if people are coming back, and so far we've not really had we haven't really had any negative
Yeah,
comments,
we haven't
have
had
we?
anybody say
Oh, that's
how
absolutely ridiculous.
that
Yeah.
you're never ever going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Everything we've had has been really positive and
Yeah.
supportive, and
Yeah.
we've had suggestions
Yeah.
and interesting questions.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything
So
negative.
it does
at
kind
all.
of make you feel a little bit more confident about what you're trying to do, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
really, really useful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
So thank you for watching from Bestwood Country Park. That's Retirement Dreams to Reality. Thank you for watching.